The next question is, in acetylene molecule, between the carbon atoms there are acetylene molecule. Acetylene is another name for ethine. Ethine. So we know ethine is 2 carbon with 1 triple bond. 3 plus 1, 4. This is acetylene molecule. In acetylene molecule, see, they have not directly given that it is ethine molecule. Instead, they have given acetylene molecule. So we should know some of the common names also. In acetylene molecule, between carbon atoms there are 3 sigma bonds, 2 sigma and 1 pi bond, 1 sigma and 2 pi bonds, 3 pi bonds. So you know this, right? That always one bond that is formed between any two atoms will be a sigma bond, which is a strong bond. The other multiple bonds, the double or triple bonds formed, will be pi bonds. If it is a double bonded atom, or if it is a double bond, that means out of that one is sigma and the other one is pi bond. If it is only single bond, that means it is only sigma bond that is formed. Yes, so in acetylene molecule, 1 sigma and 2 pi bonds. So which option is the right one? Option C is the right option. 14th one, number of lone pair in XeOF4, xenon oxyfluoride. In xenon oxyfluoride, number of lone pair of electron is asked. Xenon oxyfluoride means double bond O. Here it has 2, 3, 4. Then xenon will have a lone pair of electron. This way. This is the structure of xenon oxyfluoride. So in xenon oxyfluoride, number of lone pair is asked. How many lone pair of electron it has? It has 1 lone pair of electron. Xenon central atom has 1 lone pair of electron. So option B1 is the right answer. Next one, 15th one, lattice energy of an ionic compound depends on. 15th, lattice energy of an ionic compound. See, lattice energy is inversely proportional to size of cations and anions. Remember this point. Okay, it inversely depends on the size of cations and anions. With one simple example, let me explain. Among NaF and NaCl, now sodium, however, sodium is a cation here, fluoride is the negatively charged species. Here positive, here Cl minus. So if I consider Na plus and Na, both are same, so I have to go for the next consideration. Next consideration is fluorine, that is fluoride ion. Which has smaller size, fluoride or chloride? Fluoride has smaller size. Fluoride is smaller compared to chloride. So see, lattice energy is inversely proportional to size. Smaller the size of cation or anion, greater will be the lattice energy. Greater will be the lattice energy. So what does it tell? Sodium fluoride is smaller, so in sodium fluoride lattice energy will be more, whereas sodium chloride is larger in size, lattice energy will be less in it. What is lattice energy? Lattice energy is energy liberated when 1 mole of compound is separated, isn't it? You can imagine this way. This has a smaller size. It's difficult to separate it. Like that, if you imagine, or if you remember this particular relation, then it is easy for you to remember something related to lattice energy. If it was same sodium chloride and potassium chloride, then you have to see among sodium and potassium which has larger size. Potassium has larger size, so potassium will show lesser lattice energy, whereas sodium chloride will show higher lattice energy, like that. Okay. Next question, which of the following properties of water can be used to explain spherical shape? So spherical shape of water or spherical shape of rain droplets can be explained, and I have already told you why the water acquires a spherical shape, or water droplet acquires a spherical shape. It is because in the surface the molecules are unstable. Than say unstable, they do not have the neighboring particles or atoms to attract, and that is why the inner molecules will pull them closer, because of which it acquires a spherical shape. So which property it is? The perpendicular force that acts, it is surface tension. Surface tension. This is the property which gives spherical shape. So option B is the right answer. Seventeenth one, a real gas tends to behave more ideally at a real gas. When does a real gas show ideal gas behavior? It is at high temperature and low pressure. So the option C is the right option. At high temperature and low pressure, real gases behave as ideal gas. 18th one, when temperature of an ideal gas is increased from 27 degrees Celsius to 927 degrees Celsius, 27 degrees Celsius to 927 degrees Celsius, the temperature has been increased. The kinetic energy will be, that means how kinetic energy will vary. So let us take kinetic energy at a particular temperature T2, that is final temperature, divided by kinetic energy at a particular temperature T1, which is equal to the ratio of a final temperature to that of initial temperature. So final temperature is 927. Let us consider it to Kelvin scale 273, divided by T1 is 27 plus 273. What does it come out as? It is 1200. Here Kelvin, 1200. Kelvin cancels, 300. So which is equal to 4. That means kinetic energy at temperature T2 is equal to 4 times of kinetic energy at T1. What does it mean? When temperature of an ideal gas is increased from 27 degrees Celsius to 927 degrees Celsius, what happens to kinetic energy? It will be 4 times. It will be 4 times. Right option is option C. Nineteenth question. Ideal gas equation was modified by a well-known fact. It is a factual question where P plus AN square by V square V minus NB is equal to nRT. Who gave this particular equation? Van der Waals. It is also called as Van der Waals equation of state. So the person who modified it is Van der Waals. Option C. Option C, Van der Waals. Next, 20th question is, 20th question is the compressibility factor for an ideal gas. Compressibility factor, I have told you, it is given as Z. Compressibility factor is nothing but ratio of PV by nRT. So it is, since it is for an ideal gas means PV is equal to nRT. So if both are same, then you get it as 1. Therefore, compressibility factor for ideal gas is 1. Options are 1.5, 1.0, 2.0 and infinity. So, 1 is the right answer. Option B. Next question is, the product of pressure and volume has a unit of. So they have asked, if you take product of pressure and product with that of volume, that means pressure into volume, the product which you get, it has a particular unit. Which unit it will be? Whether it will be as that of impulse, whether it will be that of energy, entropy or force. So what we have to see, P means pressure, V means volume. Pressure is nothing but force per unit area. And here volume means it is length into length into length. So let me write it as length into length. I'll write it as area into length for simplification process, so that we can cut this area and area get cancelled. Now it is force into length. Force into length, that is force into length or displacement, means work or energy. So what will be the unit? The unit will be equal to that of energy. Option B, which means energy. Next is 22. Air is dense at sea level. This is a practical application of. Okay, at the sea level, the air is very dense, thicker. The reason is, it is compressed by the mass above, of air above it. Density and pressure decreases with altitude, and we know volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So the practical application, it is given in most of the books. You might have observed the example that at sea level the air above it will be very dense. The reason is because the air above it tries to compress that particular area, because of which the air seems to be denser there. Okay, density and pressure decreases with altitude. More the height, then density and pressure decreases. Lower the height, density and pressure increases. Okay, so volume is inversely proportional to pressure. As pressure decreases, volume increases, pressure increases, volume decreases, and so on. And that is why this is a practical application of Boyle's law. Boyle's law, which is option A. 23. Density is directly proportional to its options are combined gas, equation of state, pressure, molar mass. We know density is directly proportional to pressure, and hence option C is the right answer. As per a relationship, we have density being directly proportional to that of pressure. Next, pressure exerted by saturated water vapor is, water is taken, water vapor, say if it is closed or it is exerting some pressure, the pressure exerted by saturated water vapor is called as its partial pressure. Partial pressure. Or say you can call it as aqueous tension than partial pressure. Aqueous tension is the right one because pressure is exerted by saturated water vapor. So on the water there is some pressure being exerted. So the right option is aqueous tension. Aqueous tension. Next question. During collision of gas molecules, what happens? That means when gas molecules collides, what actually happens? Some of their energies change. Whether the energy sum changes? No. There will be exchange of energy between colliding molecules? No. The molecules doesn't like hit and then it will be like, okay, we will share the energies. It doesn't happen. Individual energies are not affected. Yes, the energies are not affected. Molecules does not hit the walls of the container, it hits the wall of the container. So the right option is option C, where individual energies remains unaffected. Unaffected. 26. The deviation from ideal gas behavior can be measured in terms of Boyle's point, ideal equation, Charles expression, compressibility factor. We know that to check whether a real gas behaves as an ideal gas, we have a factor we call it as compressibility factor. If it is equal to 1, we say that the gas shows ideal gas behavior. It shows ideal gas nature. If it deviates, if it is greater than 1 or less than 1, then we say it deviates from ideal gas behavior. So which is the factor? Compressibility factor, that is used to measure the deviation from ideal gas behavior. The next question. The temperature at which a real gas obeys ideal gas law is called. So the question is temperature at which ideal gas law is obeyed. That means when a real gas behaves as ideal gas. A temperature at which real gas obeys ideal gas law. The temperature at which real gas obeys ideal gas law, we call that temperature as Boyle's temperature. So that is a point where you can see the real gas is behaving like that of ideal gas. So Boyle's temperature, C is the right option here. (28) Volume of 1 mole of gas at Tc, that is critical temperature. Volume of 1 mole of gas at critical temperature. I have told you, at critical temperature the volume is called as critical volume. At critical temperature the pressure is said to be critical pressure. So the volume at critical temperature is called as critical volume, which is option B. 29th question. At 1 atmosphere boiling at 1 atmospheric pressure, boiling temperature is called. When pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere, boiling temperature is called as normal boiling point, Boyle's law, saturated vapor, equation of state. When the pressure is 1 atmosphere, the boiling temperature or the temperature at which a liquid starts boiling is called its normal boiling point. So which is the right option here? Option A is the right one, which is normal boiling point. Last question. In F is equal to eta A du by dz, what does eta denote? What does eta denotes? Velocity gradient, laminar flow, coefficient of viscosity, none of these. So I have told you, when I have explained the terms, I had told you that F represents force, A represents area, du by dz means velocity gradient, at a particular time the change in velocity, eta means coefficient of viscosity. So eta, coefficient of viscosity, is defined as force when area is unit area and velocity gradient is 1. That is what I had told you, isn't it? So eta represents coefficient of viscosity. Which option is it? It is option B. Last one is option B as a right answer. So here ends the discussions for the second test paper. Thank you.